So we're too busy talking with our full minion that is already here, so just got to get that out there. We'll turn to page 13, 14, one of those. 14, for Yedid Nefesh, and begin our Kabbalat Shabbat service. Reveal yourself, beloved, for all the world to see, and shelter us in peace beneath your canopy. Illumine all creation, lighting up the earth, and we shall celebrate you in choruses of mirth. This time, my love, is now. Rush, be quick, be bold. Let your favor grace us in the spirit of days of old. We'll sing together, Lechuna Ranana, page 15. Page 16. תוזמרו אלוהים עברו כל העמים נפלאותיו כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד לא ראו על כל אלוהים כי כל אלוהי העמים אלילים אדוני שמיים עשות והר לפניו עוז ותפארת במקדשו עבור אדוני משפחות עמים עבור אדוני כבוד ועוז עבור אדוני כבוד שמו שאו מנחה ובוא לחצרותיו השתחוו לאדוני בחדרת קודש הנה מפניו כל הארץ אמרו בגויים אדוני מלך אל תיכון תבל ואל תימות ידין עמים במישרים ישמחו השמיים ותגר הארץ ירם הים ומלואו יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו אז ירננו כל הצער לפני אדוני כי בא לשפוט הארץ לשפוט תבל וצדק ועמים באמונתו ילאי 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 We turn to page 17. We'll read responsively. Adonai is sovereign. Let the world rejoice.
God's throne is founded on justice. Though God be clouded from view, divine justice reveals God's presence.
God's lightning illumines the earth. Fire consumes God's foes. Mountains melt like wax before Adonai. The earth trembles.
The heavens proclaim God's righteousness. All people behold God's majesty.
Shame covers those who worship idols, those who take pride in revering images which must themselves bow low before God.
Hearing of your judgments, Adonai, Zion exults and the cities of Judah rejoice.
You are supreme over all the earth, highly exalted beyond all that is worshipped.
Those who love Adonai hate evil. God protects the faithful and saves them from the wicked.
Light is stored for the righteous, joy for the honorable.
Rejoice in Adonai, you who are righteous. Acclaim the holiness of God's name.
Page 18, we'll sing together.
Mizmor
Shiru Adonai shir chadash ki niflot asa Hoshia lo yemino kodro kodsho adi Adonai Yeshuato ve'enei hagoyim gilatzit kato zachar hasdo ve'emunato ve'et Yitzra'el ra'u kol afsei haaretz et Yeshuat Eloheinu ariu l'Adonai kol haaretz pitzu ve'ranenu ve'zameru zameru l'Adonai bechinor bechinor ve'kol zimra בחצוצרות וכל שופר הריעו לבני המלך אדוני רם הים ומלואו תבל ויושבה נהרות ימחאוך יחד הרים ירננו לפני אדוני כי בא ישפוט הארץ ישפוט תבל וצדק ועמים ובשרים הלילה לילה 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 Continue at the bottom of page 19 with Romamu.
Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'nishtachachu le'hakacho. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'nishtachachu le'hakacho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'nishtachachu le'hakacho. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'nishtachachu le'hakacho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'nishtachachu le'hakacho. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'nishtachachu le'hakacho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu.
We rise, page 20, for Mizmor David.
Yachil Adonai Mir Bakadosh Kol Adonai Chol Elayano Vayesof Ye'aron Bechalom Kulom Ekavod Adonai Lama Bu Yashav Reishev Melech le'olam Adonai Oz Le'amo yiten Adonai Yivarech et amo b'shalom
Be seated. Before we turn the page, I've been, each week I have a havruta with two colleagues who are in DC. We study a little bit of Hasidic texts, and talk about our spiritual practices. And one of the things we were looking at in the last couple of weeks was some of the different names of God. It was sort of a side project of our project. And one of the names that are mentioned is the 42-letter name of God, which is hinted at in Ana Bakwak. So I just want to sing the first couple lines. Ana bekoach bekoach gedulat yemincha yemincha tatit zirur hakaberina tamcha zagmeinu tareinu nora Ana bekoach bekoach Getulat yemincha yemincha Tatit zerura kaberinat amcha Zageveinu tareinu nora Yadai nai 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 Yadai nai 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 Yadai nai nai Yadai nai nai Look how talented he is. Well, turn to page 21. Go to Lachadodi. Lachadodi likat kala b'nei shavan nekabela Lachadodi likat kala B'nei shavan nekabela Shamor v'zachor v'ribor echad Yishmi'anu elcham yuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad L'shem utferet v'litzita Lechadodi likrat kala B'nei shavan nekabela Lechadodi likrat kala B'nei shavan nekabela Likrat shavan We turn the page. Lechadodi likrat kala B'nei shavan nekabela Lechadodi likrat kala B'nei shavan nekabela Yamin u'shmol tiflotzi Ve'adonai taritzi Ayadish bepartzi V'nismecha v'nagicha Lechadodi likrat kala B'nei shavan nekabela Lechadodi likrat kala B'nei shavan nekabela Ori v'shalom Ateret haolam Gam v'simcha V'tzoch olam Toch emunei Am segulam Bo'ich chala Lechadodi likrat kala B'nei shavan nekabela Lechadodi likrat kala B'nei shavan nekabela. May be seated. The song for Shabbat, page 23. Mizmor shir yom hashabbat tov le'odol Adonai ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
Shir Boker Chostecha Bemunatcha B'leilot Alei Asor V'alei Nader Alei Gayot Bechinot Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat Tov Leodo L'Adonai ולזמר לשמך העליון, ולזמר לשמך העליון. מעגל ומסך אדוני מן המקום משפטיך, איש ולילה. כי נבך. עתיקת המאי פרקת מעמד שבפניתה. עוד שנבות וספות ושנים. יפרח בארז בנן יזכה שטורים בבית אדוני בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו עוד גנובון בסבע תשיינים ברעננים יהיו להגיד כי אשר אדוני צורי ולא
And the last of the Psalms of Kabbalat Shabbat, page 24.
Adonai malach Ehud lavesh Lavesh Adonai oti tazar Aftikon tevel baltimot
Nachum
Yitzchaka me'az Me'olam atah Nasehu leharot Adonai Nasehu leharot olam Yishu leharot olam
Mikolot vayim
Imranim aririm mishpereim Adir b'marom Adonai Kedotecha nebru meyon Lebeitcha v'kodesh Adonai leorech yamim
Those who are observing a yard site or in the time of mourning, the Kaddish is on page 24. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabam. Be'alma divrach rotei v'yamlech malchutei. B'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayei techol Beit Yisrael. B'agalav v'zman kariv yimru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabam mevorach le'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha b'richu. La'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, namaran be'alma v'yimru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. You may be seated. Gedola Torah, yoter min ha'kehuna, min ha'malchut. Torah is greater than the priesthood or royalty. Shehamalchut nikneit bishloshim ma'alot. Kingship is acquired with 30 qualities. V'kuna be'esrim bi'arba, and priesthood through 24. But Torah niknet be'arba'im u'shmona devarim. To be a Torah scholar, to make your life Torah, you need 48 different attributes and 48 different methods. So I'm going to read them in English so as not to go back and forth for the whole time. Through study and a listening ear. Through careful use of speech, to know when to keep your mouth open and when to keep it shut. Through an understanding heart, through insight, through fear, through awe, through humility, but also through joy. Through attending to scholars, through considered discussions with companions, through challenging exchanges with students. But pilpul hatalmidim, you got to have an interaction with the students. You can't just say, this is how it is. They got to push back, and you got to push back too. Through equanimity, through biblical studies, through the study of Mishnah, through minimizing sleep, through minimizing idle conversations, don't waste your time too much, through minimizing desire, through minimizing frivolity, but also through patience, through a good heart, and through trust in scholars who've come before you. Through acceptance of suffering, through knowing one's place, through finding joy in one's lot, through making a fence around one's words, through not crediting one's own successes, so don't be a braggart, through being beloved. It's hard to teach Torah if everyone thinks you're a jerk. Through loving God, through loving humanity. You need both of those. Now, when I remember David Kramer, I may have shared this before, at one point I was thinking, do I go on for a PhD? And he says to me, we're sitting in the cafeteria at JTS, and he says, Philip, do you like to sit in a room by yourself all the time and spend the next 5 years there, or do you want to be around people? If you want to be around people, maybe don't bother with the PhD. Through loving justice, through loving honesty, through welcoming criticism. That one can be challenging. Through shunning honors, through not becoming arrogant because of one's studies. So if you're in a position where you know a lot, it's like, sometimes, what we said earlier, you have to know when to open your mouth and know when to close it, but you don't want to, become too arrogant in that. Through not being joyful in decision-making. If somebody comes to you with a problem, it's not, yes, I can solve it for you, but it's, how can we figure this out? Through sharing in another's burdens. This is a challenge of the modern rabbinate that in some ways was not always part of the history of the rabbi. Through, being there and being present with people. Through judging others favorably, through insisting on truth, through insisting on peace. And many of these are sort of parallel and they push up against each other. Sometimes the path to peace and the path to truth feel like they're at odds. So how do you find a way that intersects with both? Through settling one's mind in study, through asking questions and responding to questions, through listening and adding to the conversation, through learning in order to teach, through learning in order to do. You can't, again, have one without the other. If you're only learning to sit and not do anything with it, well, it's nice, God appreciates that learning, but humanity is missing it. Through bringing new understanding to one's teachers, through being precise and reporting what one has learned, through reporting sayings in the speaker's name. And this is very interesting because we've had 48 teachings, 48 things that a teacher, a student need to have to really appreciate and to be a good Jew and a good teacher and a promulgator of Torah. Only one of them, only one of them has a source attached to it. Every other one of them is just do it. Here's which is the one that says you need that has a source? Interesting enough, the one that says you should have sources. It says through reporting sayings in the speaker's name. Halamadta, Shekol ha'omer davar b'shem omro mevi geula le'olam. From this we learn that a person who cites their source brings deliverance to the world, brings redemption to the world. Now, side note, they didn't used to have copyright, so if you could pretend that you wrote a book and no one might know because if it's a manuscript. So in fact, if you find many printings of books in the early era of printing before copyrights really existed, there are long lists of curses for anyone who wants to steal the title page and replace it with their own. But the rabbis say this is a really sacred thing, to remember something and to teach it in the name of the person who you learned it from, and that this in fact brings about deliverance to the world. And where do we get this from? From the book of Esther, where it says, "V'tomer Esther lemelech b'shem Mordechai," that Esther spoke to the king in the name of Mordechai. And in fact, it does bring about redemption, because what happens, just as a rewind, Purim was just a few weeks ago. So the beginning of this is from chapter 2. Mordechai said to Esther, there are these guys that are plotting to kill the king. Esther tells the king in the name of Mordechai that they're, Bigtan and Teresh want to kill the king. Bigtan and Teresh are removed from the picture. Nothing happens for Mordechai at that point, but much later on, Mordechai is celebrated, and that eventually leads to the opportunity that Esther is able to go to Ahasuerus and say, Haman's the one who did it, after, a couple parties and a lot of drinking. But, so it's a little bit of a winding path, but the redemption of the Jewish people in the story of Esther came about because Esther didn't just say, hey, by the way, Bigtan and Teresh are out to get you. She said, Mordechai showed me that Bigtan and Teresh are out to get you. And just those two extra words that Mordechai said, or in the name of Mordechai, really ended up saving the Jewish people. So I share this teaching, this is a Baraita of Rebbe Meir, but I share this teaching in the name of one of my teachers, Rabbi Bill Lebo, who was for many years the dean of the rabbinical school at JTS, now emeritus for many years, and now still consults for the rabbinical assembly, and still talks to rabbis and is the rabbi's rabbi all these years later. But on the very first day of orientation, the rabbinical school in 2005, Rabbi Lebo had us read this text. And I remember, being in that space and hearing the words of this text and saying, "Oy vey, we got a lot to learn," But so I cite this learning in the name of my teacher. May he live many healthy years to come, and may that bring about the Mashiach. We'll continue with the Mariv service, and just as a reminder, I'm going to say it now, so I help remember to say it again before the Amidah, that today is Rosh Chodesh. So when we get to the Amidah, in addition to having the Shabbat prayer, we'll add the paragraph for Rosh Chodesh as well in the middle. But we rise now for the Baruch Hu, page 28.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMorach.
Baruch Mevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMorach Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'doroch ha'novim.
Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uben laila, Adonai tzevot shemo, Echai v'kayam, Tamid yivloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv Aravim.
Page 29.
Ahavat olam et Yisrael
Amcha.
Torah
Mitzvot
חוקים ומשפטים אותנו ותא. על כן אדוני אלוהינו שקבנו וקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ולמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם היינו ואורך ימינו, אורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, יומם ולילה.
מאהבתך תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד.
ואהבת
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושילמתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ושכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. והיה שמות מצאי אשר נוחים. Emet.
Adonai Elohim Emet.
Page 32.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה בני ישראל החנו שירה ושמחה רבה ואמרו כולם
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נדר תהילות אוספת.
מלכותך רבניך בוקי הים לפני משה זה אלינו ויאמרו
אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
ונאמר כי פד אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני God Israel.
So we're going to stay on that page at the left side, at the bottom of 32. We'll read together. Daily you renew our souls, restoring us as you redeemed our ancient nation Israel. From slavery to freedom, from sorrow to triumph, blessing our people with the springtime of its life, to be renewed by all of us each year. Healer of our wounds, holy God, Do not abandon us to enemies who threaten, to tyrants who deny your sovereignty. Into your care we commit our souls, now as in the past, sustained by your truth, embraced by your love, inspired with hope for the future by your faith in us. Beloved are you, Redeemer of the people Israel, whose faithfulness in ages past assures our future too. On page 34, we'll rise for Vishamru and the Chatzi Kaddish, and then we'll take time for our personal Amidah for Shabbat, and include the blessing for Rosh Chodesh.
Meshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה
אמן.
ואלמדי והגינותי וימליך מלכותי בחיי כל יום ימיכם ובחיי כל בית ישראל בקלה ובזמן קריב בימינו אמן יש מרב מברך לעולם יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמיני קודשה בריחו לילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירה לעמה בימירו
You finished your personal prayer. Vayechulu is on page 47. If you're still davening, continue.
Vayechulu hashamayim be'haaretz b'chol tzivam vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi melachto Vayishbot bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa Vayivarech Elohim et yom hashvi Vayikadesh oto ki lo shahat mikol melachto Asher bara Elohim lasot Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shalom.
Eloheinu melech avotenu Elohei Avraham
Elohei
Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Hanorah Elyon Konei Shamayim Haaretz Magen Avot Vidvaro Mechayem Etiv V'mamaro Ha'el HaKadosh She'en Kamahu Hameniach le'amo b'yom Shabbat kodsho Ki ha'ratza le'aniach lahem Ki ha'ratza le'aniach lahem Le'farav ve'ira v'pachad Ve'nodeh lismo v'chol yom tamid Me'ol habrachot El Adot Adon HaShalom Mekadesh HaShamar U'mbarech Shemi U'meniach mikdusha Le'amedu shnei oneg Zecher Le'maseh Bereshit. At the top of 48, we'll read together, Our God and God of our ancestors, find favor in our Shabbat rest, instill in us the holiness of your mitzvot, and let your Torah be our portion. Fill our lives with your goodness and gladden us with your triumph. Cleanse our hearts so we might serve you faithfully, lovingly and willingly, Adonai our God. Grant that we inherit your holy Shabbat, so that the people of Israel who hallow your name will always find rest on this day. Praised are you, Adonai, who hallows Shabbat. Amen. Bagalav is Makari, Vimru, Amen. Yesh Merah Mevarach, Ne'alav Me'alayet Barach. Yibarach Fishbach Paritrami, Naseni Tadar, Vitalemi Talal, Shmeri Gulisham,
Brecho.
Le'ela min coming out of Shirata, Tunjinatam Negrata. Damina me alma vimru amen. Tits kamal sorvar hanel Israel. Kanam han Ishmaya vimru amen. Yeshua maravam Ishmaya. Lechaim aleinu me'ako Israel vimru amen. Ose shalom imrama.
Israel, Veideru, Amen.
Kiddush for Shabbat, page 49.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu mitzvotav ve'atzavanu, ve'shavat kodsho ve'ahalu braton hikilanu. Zikaron le'maseh bereshit, ki oyom tehillah le'mikra'ei kodesh, zecher le'tziat Mitzrayim, ki banu v'charta ve'ata
I will remind you that today has been the 15th day of the Omer, which is 2 weeks and 1 day of the Omer. Now, we can welcome Shabbat early, but we can't count the Omer early. So we have to wait till it gets truly dark outside. And then, if you're of the custom, you say the blessing, and then you say the one that comes after 15, and you'll say how many days and how many weeks that is. We'll continue with Aleinu, page 51.
Aleinu l'shameach l'adol ha'kol, v'atet ginula v'yosef bereshit, shelo asanu k'goyei haraton, ve'lo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, shelo samcher k'erukahem, ve'noraneinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'monim, lifnei melech malchei hamachim, hakadosh baruch hu. V'ne'eman v'haya Adonai l'melech ha'kol ha'aretz, b'yom ha'hu yeh Adonai echad, u'shema
echad. You may be seated. We remember this week Philip Rosenblum, Marcus Bennett, Richard Jordan Schachter, Max Robbins, Morris Levine, Stefan Freifeld, Bernard Pincus, Lena Brown, Paula Green, Joseph Beller, Regina Gelford Landis, Manuel Stein, Evelyn Margaret Gold, Rosalind Litt, Moses Canner, Barbara Berman Disson, Catherine Lieberman, Jeffrey Disson, Max Mellitz, Eleanor Citron, Herman Brash, David Rosen, Anna Zwerin, Issachar Abayav, Avram Zwerin, Miriam R. Barshevsky, Lois Bowles, Stephen H. Smith, Lev Pleskov, Edith Loengard Lobenberg, Morris Ginsburg, Joe Klein, Rachel Cohen, James Domes, Shirley Geffon, Miriam Pollack, William Slobodkin, Stanley Weinstein, and David Benstock. May their memories be a blessing. Those who are observing a yahrzeit or saying Kaddish at this time, please join me on page 52. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabba v'yalmad ivrach rotei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayachon v'yamachon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael b'agalav v'zman kariv v'yimru Amen. Yehesh Shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam olomei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shmei d'kudsha b'richu La'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damaran be'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom v'imru ma, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. You may be seated. So this week, I have lunch and learn on Tuesday. Wednesday, we have two different ways to celebrate Yom HaAtzmaut. One is just outside. We'll have Benjamin Tower and Menorah Life and CBI are having a picnic barbecue in the parking lot on Benjamin Tower side. For just, I think it's like $10 for hamburgers and hot dogs, and all are welcome. And then in the evening, Wednesday night at 6:30, at Temple Bnai Israel on Belcher, we will have a Yom HaAtzmaut 75th anniversary celebration for Israel with different activities and fun for all. So lots of good things coming up. We'll turn to 53 for Yigdal.
יגדל אלוהים חי וישתבח נמצא בארץ אל מציאותו אחד אין יחיד כייחודו נעלם גם אין סוף לאחדותו אין לו דמותו גוף אין הגוף לא נח אליו קדושתו כמו לכל דבר אשר נברא ראשון ואין ראשית לראשיתו הינו אדון עולם וכל האוצר יורה גדולתו ומלכותו שפע נבואתו נתנו אלא אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו לא קם בישראל כמו שאול נביא ומעביד את אמונתו תורת בנתה לעמואל היה נביאו נאמן ביתו יא חליפה אל ולא ימיר דתו כל הערים נזולתו צופן יודע סתרנו מעביר לסוף דבר מקדמתו גומל איש חסד כמפעלו נותן לרשע רע כרישתו ישלח גשמים משיחנו לפתור מקקת ישועתו מתים יחייל ורוב עשו ברוך עד שם תהילתו מתים יחייל ורוב עשו ברוך עד שם תהילתו.
May you find peace and contentment on this Shabbat, and may it be a taste of the world to come. Shabbat Shalom.
Marotia.